On this episode of The Rig Doctor, we're going to be working with session ace and touring great Erick Walls. Erick has played with everybody from Beyoncé to Black Eyed Peas. He's won some Grammys. He's an extremely accomplished guitar player, and he asked us if we could help him build his very first pro-level rig. He's put everything together himself, although he's been in the industry for decades, and this is the first time he's trusted anybody to make him a rig that's going to really be reliable, that's going to last, and is going to allow him programmability by using the Boss ES8 switcher as sort of the brain for this entire rig. So we're really happy that Erick thought of us. He's going to be going on tour with Toni Braxton. He's going to start in Pittsburgh, and so we need to get this rig done pronto. We're going to be starting this rig on a Tuesday, and he needs it done by Thursday evening for a Friday morning gig. This is going to be a super time crunch, so it's going to be really interesting to see how this shakes out. Follow us to our showroom in North Hollywood, and let's see how it goes. My name is Mason Marangella. I build rigs for the industry's top professionals. Now, I'm teaching guitarists how to build rigs like the pros, with DIY tips, easy mods, and all the tricks of the trade. I am the Rig Doctor. Howdy folks, Rig Doctor here. We're in the beautiful North Hollywood Hills.
Hollywood Hills right there.
Look at those Hollywood Hills. And you know, we lucked out. It's a smoggy day here in LA, which is, you know, if you're here and it's not smoggy, it's unusual. So it feels like the right type of day to be here. We're heading to see Erick Walls. He's going to be giving us his pedals so that we can start working on this rig. We understand that the Pedalboard, however, hasn't arrived yet, which does put a wrench in the works. But I think we're going to be able to accomplish enough to kind of get us started so that it doesn't end up being a deficit. We need to have this whole rig done by Friday. Today is Tuesday. And so we have very little time. And when I say Friday, I mean like he's flying out at dawn on Friday morning. So we really have to have it done by Thursday evening for a flight out on Friday. He's rehearsing right now at Center Staging with Toni Braxton. I'm hoping we get a chance to meet Toni as well, a teenage crush of mine. Just loved her music, still love her music. A lot of classics there. And our good friend Dean Parks played on Unbreak My Heart, that nylon string opening. So I'm hoping we get a chance to meet her. Fingers are crossed. Let's see what happens with Erick.
How you feel, Mason?
I'm feeling really good. We're about to meet Toni Braxton, and it's gonna be legendary.
Well, basically, on a gig like this, I'm doing a lot of patch changes in the middle of a song, so it's not necessarily a consistent tone throughout. So I basically needed to have the capability of pushing one button and turning on multiple effects at one time. And that's, you know, that's really what it's all about on this type of gigs. Kind of just piecing together, as you know. This one here is something I pieced together, but you know, it's well overdue. I mean, you know, the busier I get, the more I need to be able to, you know that the gear is working properly. So, yeah, it was long overdue.
Happy birthday!
right, so we're day one. Erick just came, he delivered his pedals. All this stuff was bought on Amazon, so he just delivered a big Amazon box with all the cables, the connectors, the jacks, all that stuff. So we're going to be building based on pretty much stuff that you can get available anywhere. I'm going to link everything in the description if you're curious about stuff that I've used. I've tried to label that so it's as clear as possible for you to go do this yourself. Now here's the tricky part. Erick didn't receive the pedal board from the pedal board manufacturer. It was due to arrive today, but it hasn't. So today is Tuesday. We need to have this rig done by Friday. So this does kind of put a wrench in things. So what you're going to see me do next is I'm going to clean all the pedals. I'm going to put Velcro on all the pedals. I'm going to get everything sort of prepped on the pedal end. I'm going to tape off all the battery leads. If you're wondering why I'm doing that, you should check out this video in the top corner, and that's going to explain to you why I'm doing that. And it's really just about keeping everything from preventing a short internally, especially if it's sedentary on a switcher, but it is going to be traveled and moved around. It's just an easy, cheap way to guarantee that there's not going to be any short due to the battery clip hitting something internally. I'm then going to move into doing audio cables because we need to have at least one side terminated for the switcher. So I'm going to do all of the sides that are going into the pedals, and then I'm going to leave the sides going to the switcher just blunt cut. That's one way that I can save some time because we can't put anything down the pedal board yet. So let's do it. So I'm starting by just getting everything clean, getting the pedals dusted off, using the tone brush, and taking off all of the pre-existing Velcro. A lot of this stuff had kind of the traditional kind of padded and looped Velcro that you would find on a pedal train and stuff like that. This stuff is pretty easy to get off. It just requires that you use the back of the adhesive part of that Velcro to kind of get off any of that residue. I always recommend using 3M Dual Lock. And again, I'm gonna link my 6 tips for just good pedal and pedal board maintenance here that I did with John Schofield. So be sure to take a look at that. I'm essentially doing that very same thing that I did with John here, where I'm just taking out all the old batteries, I'm cleaning everything using contact cleaner. I'm gonna link everything in the description below so that you can use the exact same things and the exact same process that I used here in this section of the video, so you can kind of copy this as just good everyday pedal board maintenance. Now I'm moving on to cable assembly, and this is essentially because we didn't have the pedal board yet, so I could only assemble on the side that the switcher was on. I don't know where the pedals were all going to be placed exactly. I didn't know how we were going to route things because I couldn't put anything down. So I was essentially just labeling and soldering together the ends that were going to go on the switcher, and then just labeling them like send 1, send 2, send 3, send 4, return 1, return 2, return 3, return 4, etc. And so I was just getting as much done as possible, knowing that we were already strapped for time and this was going to save some time on the back end by doing it now. So that's essentially what I'm doing here, is just heat shrinking everything, labeling everything, and making sure that we can have it as ready to go as possible once the pedal board actually arrives. Now I'm moving on to making the interface for the entire board. This is totally passive, and I'm actually going to be putting up a Rig Doctor short, which is a short video showing exactly how I made an interface just like this. And this one's totally passive because we're using the buffers inside of the Boss ES8, which are actually pretty decent. And the cool thing about using those instead of one in an actual interface is that they're programmable. So you can turn them on and off depending on the patch, and that just makes it really easy to make sure that you're using buffers when you need them, and that you turn them off when it doesn't sound like it's an advantage, depending on what your preset actually looks like. Now, I will warn that doing it freehand and drilling like this is not the best way to do it. If you have a drill press, that's definitely preferable, just to keep the lines straight, to keep your holes uniform. I even actually kind of injured myself a little bit here because I got a metal shard through my hand, and so you can see that I taped up my hand kind of in the second half of building this thing. So just a warning to be careful on that. So we're bordering on midnight. It's still day one. If we take a look now at the pedal board, we don't have the pedal board yet. We're hoping that it arrived to Erick. I haven't heard from him, but he said that they've been going until midnight on the rehearsal, so it may be that he's still rehearsing. But essentially what's been done is we've Velcroed everything. We've put dual lock, of course, on all the bottoms as our standard Velcro. I haven't run any power yet because I don't want to, do anything until I have the pedal board itself. I built a custom interface. We haven't had time to go to the hardware store to get machine screws, but so I haven't mounted these in, but I've soldered everything internally, so the interface is ready. That's going to go with the ES8. So really, we're just kind of doing as much as we can based on what we have. Once the pedal board arrives and we get that tomorrow, we'll be able to put all this stuff down, route the power, and we've already even done, as you can see on the floor here, half the cables are finished. So we've done all the stuff that goes in the ES8, but we haven't wired anything into the corresponding pedals. So we'll see you tomorrow morning and see where it goes. So here we are, day 2. We're starting off with the power and getting everything down on the pedal board. Erick just dropped off the pedal board this morning, so we haven't had much of the day to work on it, but I'm going to try to finish all the power, and I'm going to try to get everything put down, get the riser drilled in and hard mounted to the board. So let's see if we can do it. It's about 3 o'clock now, and I have until about midnight tonight, and then tomorrow we're going to meet up with Erick. Again, this needs to be done before he flies out on Friday, so we literally have just today and then tomorrow to get this thing finished. We're definitely cutting a lot closer to the wire than I would normally like to do it, but because the pedal board hadn't arrived until this afternoon, we had minimal time to do it, and even Erick was in a rehearsal. We had to hire an Uber to bring it from his house to take the pedal board to us here in North Hollywood. So it's been quite a trek, quite a voyage. So we're gonna get this done for him and get it done just in time for the tour, but whew, it's been a nail biter. So what I'm doing now is getting right into the power cables, and if you want to know about how I do power cables really specifically, I suggest you look at this video here that I'm going to link above. And this is really just about best practices, how I route things, how I assemble the cables, the parts that I use. I'm also going to link all of that below, so if you want any of the materials that I use, whether it's plugs or connectors, that's exactly what I use. And I don't typically build power cables from scratch. It's not like audio cables where there's going to be a sonic difference, or if you use different ones, you're going to get different sounds. What I really recommend that you do is use the provided power cables that come with your power supply. There are different types that are shielded versus having just 2 insulated conductors, one assigned to the shield and one to the center or the hot. And those are not as good. I think the Voodoo Lab ones are the best and most well made if you need to buy one, and they do make them in longer lengths, and one with a blunt cut end, so you can just assemble your soldered connector to that blunt cut end, since there's no connector that pairs with the mated side. So that makes it really simple. So as you can see here, we have power going to everything except the H9, which you see is missing there, and that's just because Erick's got it on his rehearsal board right now. He doesn't have a spare. So we're going to swap that in there when we have it. As in the back here, we have a special cord going to the HX Stomp, and that's just because we don't have an extra 2.5 millimeter plug. The rig doctor forgot some tools at home, and that's sort of the risk we run when we do these remotely. So I improvised and took the one that came with the provided power supply and just cut it to length. So this is working okay. We've got it doubled on the Strymon Zuma so that it can get the amperage needed. And then we've combined a few items here just so that we can have the appropriate power to everything. But everything is looking good so far. We'll test it more once we get the audio signal going to make sure we don't have any problems. But our initial test is in isolation. Everything looks good. So job well done. Finishing day 2. Got everything put down. Got the riser mounted. Take a look underneath the hood here. Everything's nice and clean. Got our pedals. Everything's nice and put down. So we even have a an old wire snipper in there, so it looks like everything's gonna work. What do you think about this labeling sequence, Hunter?
It's a lot. That looks good.
Are you a big believer in labels? Don't label me, Hunter. Stop labeling me. I'm my own person. So this is the last day. We didn't do a lot of time on screen on the video side because we really were in such a time crunch. We just needed to get going and really test and retest cables, make sure everything was sounding good, everything was looking good. We needed to have it available for Erick to take to Pittsburgh the next day. So having it really reliable and double checking everything was critically important. We wanted to make sure we had stuff tested in real time. So I had Gabriel and Mason Mejia sitting on the couch behind me at times and just playing through the rig as we would add in each pedal into the actual switcher to make sure that there wasn't any issues, that all the MIDI programming was working appropriately, so that when Erick got through with his rehearsal, he could come and we could immediately start getting into creating his presets so he could hit the ground running when he got to Pittsburgh the next day. So we're gonna see him here in just a minute. we're all finished up, and we're gonna see how he likes the rig. This is gonna be the first time he's seen it since he delivered the pedals to us earlier in the week.
Yes! Are you serious? Oh man, this is amazing. Wow. It's so clean. Wow, you've outdone yourself, Rick Doctor. Oh man. Wow. This is what I'm talking about. Yeah, man. Man, I am so blown away. This is the cleanest build ever. I am thrilled and so excited. Like, this is everything I've needed. Like, in one place, pressing one pedal to get to all of these pre-programmed effects, and it's like, this is perfect, man. What more could I ask for? This is great. Thanks, Rick Doctor. This is really cool, man.
As you can see, it's almost midnight, 11:58 on Thursday. Erick literally just left. It was a whirlwind of an experience, a total chaotic day, and we were able to get it done. Erick was very gracious, but man, we got it just in time for this tour. He's on his way to Pittsburgh right now. He's going to be playing with Toni Braxton there on Saturday. So we wish him well, and we were glad to do this for him. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you saw today, please do all the things like subscribe, leave a comment, give us a follow, and if you really like what we're doing, please make sure that you hit the bell icon, and that just sends you the latest updates of all the stuff that we're coming out with. Until next time, I'm the Rig Doctor, Uncle Mason. Adios.